computer video games all start out. Now let's go and speak to a couple of the lecturers and the course leaders, Bobby and Stuart. Bobby, first of all, just tell us where the idea to hold an event like this with lots of board games all came from.
Well, it's quite popular these days now to have board games, and there's lots of gatherings in Birmingham, Manchester, Stafford. There is a resurgence of board games anyway. And the idea came when I came to the King's Hall and saw how lovely the place was and how it would lend itself to one of those events. We decided to hold one of those events for our students.
Now, Stuart, you were just telling me a few moments ago that, because when I turned up, I was expecting Monopoly, Cluedo, Buckaroo, Connect 4. There's none of that here. It's all different kinds of European board games, you were saying. Why is that?
Yeah, it's all a move now to sort of like strategy board games. So you're getting more mainstream sort of appearance from the likes of Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride that are starting to appear in TV shows and things like that. It's about more of an engaging element. So you're not just rolling dice and moving a counter. You actually got an element of strategy, an element of maintaining sort of your resources and trying to defeat other players. But there's cooperative stuff, there's competitive stuff, and a range of proper good games.
Now, a lot of students in here are game design students, is that right?
They are, yeah.
So if they're designing games for, say, a games console, an Xbox or a PlayStation, let's say, how does playing a board game help them benefit down that chosen career path?
Fundamentally, board games and computer games are roughly the same thing. Just one is on a screen, the other one's in a loaded piece of card and plastic in front of you. So the main basis of any game is to take a series of rules to achieve a goal, or not achieve a goal, depending on whether you're any good at it. So with a computer game, those rules are upheld by the machine, and you just interact. Whereas here, you've got another element, so you're actually directly moving everything, you're maintaining the rules, and it's a little bit more social as well, but it's just a really nice way to learn different things.
I'm glad you said that, because, Bobby, that's the key thing, isn't it? Rather than sitting 150 students in a lecture theatre, it's a good, practical, enjoyable way of teaching this, I guess.
It is, it's different, and students learn when they have something different, something new to learn and understand, and it gets them talking to each other, discussing things, which sometimes in a lecture theatre environment they can't discuss because they're too busy listening to us talking to them.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll leave you two here on the main stage. I'm just going to go for a wander and see what I can see and who I can find. Now, I'm walking past a few tables, I can see counters, people overtaking each other, instruction manuals, piles upon piles of cards. And over here, if I go to the table just to my right, I can see Ollie and James. Ollie has got the greatest moustache I have ever seen.
Hello,
gents.
Sir. Hello.
Now, just tell us a bit about the games you're playing here.
It's a game called Dixit, and the idea of the game is to place a card on the table and then reference a word, and then everyone on the table has to guess which card is yours depending on the word you've said. And hopefully, if you get your card right and everyone guesses your card right, you get points. And then if you get it right, you progress around the board.
Now, I'm guessing that a lot of people who will be listening to this go out will have grown up playing the more traditional games like Connect 4 and things like that. Just tell us how the more modern game is taking over and how enjoyable they are.
Well, obviously you've got your Connect 4, your Monopoly and that, your standard family games, but with the more modern games, so you've got Dixit, for example, and any of us, you've got Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. It's more of a group thing, so rather than family, you get to socialise with more other people and you get to start getting your imagination creative a lot better. So, such as Dixit, it's portraying someone's personality due to the fact you're referencing a word with an image.
So Dixit here, I can see lots of big playing cards with different images on them. I can see a few different cartoon characters painted on them. Then if you turn them face down, they've got Dixit written on the back. Then there are small counters with numbers on them. There are small shapes here that look like counters that are shaped like rabbits. What do they do?
Those are just the player counters, really, representing of the different colours of the cards. And then as you get it right, you progress round the board until you get to the final number 30 and then you win.
Because just from talking to you for the last few minutes, I kind of get the Dixit game, but I don't get where the rabbits tie into it.
To be honest, I'm not really sure. I'd say it's the first time I've played Dixit, so I'm quite new to it. This guy probably knows more.
I'd probably say that the rabbits reference, because the game's more about story, that it reference more towards like Alice in Wonderland, where it's kind of creative story, imaginative.
I see, you learn something every day. Just
Yeah.
Finally, just tell me how this benefits you in terms of your game design work.
Well, with games design, when it comes to making any basic game, you've got your gameplay, and to work out your gameplay, you use your rules, which is known as your game mechanics, and then you always have a victory point. So get the most score, get to a certain point, the fastest. With any basic game, those are your really simple rules. So you just reference that through anything: board games, video games, anything really.
Well, there you go, Liz. I'm going to go for a wander around the King's Hall to try and learn some of the rules to the many games that are on display and are being played here this afternoon. Ollie, don't shave off that moustache.
I will never get rid of it.